to my Palette Madness tournament. I am so sorry we took a hiatus all of April from this series. I feel like I blinked and April ended and I like don't know what happened in April. So I really apologize that there has been such a delay in this tournament, but today we are down to the Sweet 16. If you missed my introduction, I basically randomized a bracket with all like 160 of my eyeshadow palettes until we get, and broke it up into series or episodes until we get to the final ultimate palette winner in this ultimate palette battle. I'm already so excited for next year because I have different ways that I kind of want to like break the brackets up rather than doing, I basically just spun a wheel and filled my bracket in. So it's completely random, but I want to do like seeds next year and have like an indie bracket as like my conference A. Like if you're really into sports, you'll get what I'm saying. Hopefully. Sometimes I'm like, I don't think I ever make sense to anyone, but I have so many great ideas for this tournament next year. I'm already so excited about it, but that is not what this video is about. We've got our Sweet 16 today and we're gonna get down to our final 4. And then I think what I'm going to do is break up that into, I know it's like gonna drag the series out so much, but I thought it'd be fun once we get down to my final 4 to do a look with the, like an eyeshadow look with all 4 of the palettes and kind of do it that way to make it more fun and interactive, not spend money, but still create palette content. That's my thought. I'm like trying to think of creative ways to still talk about my eyeshadow palettes or the current collection that I have, but like still create content. Am I even making sense? I don't think so. Anyway, you guys, we're gonna get into it. If you're interested in who out of the Sweet 16 is going to make it to the final 4, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project planning content, palette themed content, or just chit chatting about makeup, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. All right, you guys, the top 10 spots, there were 10 eyeshadow palettes that made it through to this round, and then I had you guys vote on 6 eyeshadow palettes you wanted to see return to the tournament so that we would have a Sweet 16. So that is what today is. Okay, I zoomed you guys in ever so slightly if I've shifted a little bit, and as always, my hair is annoying me. Anyway, all of these rounds are going to be so difficult. That's why I thought it'd be fun for the final 4 for me to like actually create eye looks as well to kind of like add a little bit of spice to it. But first up, we have one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes in my entire collection. It is my Natasha Denona gold eyeshadow palette. I swear this is like a prized possession in my collection. If I have a special occasion at home, not necessarily like that I'm traveling for, but it's like I'm driving to it from my apartment, this is a palette I reach for so frequently because I just genuinely feel so pretty when I wear this eyeshadow palette. I feel confident no matter what shades I use, my look is gonna come out in a way that I like it. So this is like it's gonna be hard to beat this. And the gold is up against the Adept Hydrant eyeshadow palette, which is also just such a special eyeshadow palette. Obviously very different than the gold eyeshadow palette in that this is almost an all shimmer palette. There's 2 mattes and obviously very colorful. This is so difficult because my natural inclination is to say the gold palette, but then I like look at this just beautiful complementary eyeshadow palette and I'm like, but it's so freaking pretty. And that's why like next year I want to do like an indie bracket, you know, because oh my gosh, okay, just had another thought. We could do like a whole indie tournament. Ooh, I might have to do that before the end of the year. But then next year when I do like all my eyeshadow palettes head to head, there'll be like an indie bracket, maybe like a mainstream, but maybe like a luxury bracket. We're getting lots of ideas here as we film. Oh, I planned it, okay. I was gonna do like ranking all of my, oh, I might have to do an indie palette tournament. Let me know if you guys wanna see that. Anyway, I think I am gonna go with the Natasha Denona Gold simply because I've also been really enjoying like a simple eyeshadow look. I just came home from Vegas and I fell in love with just using one shade out of my Tartelette in Bloom palette to create a look. And I feel like this is giving like, I could just go in with this shade right here in the crease and that would be perfect. So Natasha Denona Gold is going to move on, and I'm very, very sad to be sending home the NYX Hydrant palette because I do love that one. Next pairing, we have the Bella Beauté Bar Basic Witch eyeshadow palette. Look at this beautiful thing. Look at this stunning beauty. I really, really love these shimmers, or like the special, like every shade that is like a shimmer slash special shade is just so special in this eyeshadow palette. But I also love some of the really fun pops of matte shades in this palette. I love this purple. I love this clementine orange, the green, the pink. This is a really, really fun eyeshadow palette. And then this is up against my ABH Jackie palette, which you guys know has been like a tippity top palette I have not been able to shut up about since this released in like 2019. I have like my favorite staple go-to look out of this eyeshadow palette. There's multiple pans in this palette. Clearly this palette is a love. But different in this round as opposed to the previous round, I actually think I'm gonna go with one that is more of a new favorite, just because I feel like some of these shades truly add something so incredibly special to my collection. I'm thinking right now, this Incantation shade, I'm like, okay, I feel like maybe I need this to be, I'm going out to celebrate my birthday tomorrow. Yeah, I think we need to do a look with this. We'll be doing that. Okay, Basic Witch is moving on. I was about to say, ooh, this next one's really tough, but I feel like I can just stop saying that right now because I feel that way about every single round. But this next round, we have the Natasha Denona Yuka eyeshadow palette, a very, very beautiful grungy green eyeshadow palette. This is one of my favorites that Natasha Denona has released, and this is going up against the Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels eyeshadow palette. It's just unfair. It feels like that I have to pick between the two of these. Okay, it's so unfair that I have to pick between the two of these. My first inclination is to say Natasha Denona Yuka, but then I look into this palette and I'm like, but this has like Tree Hopper, which is such a beautiful, just like neutral, one shade and you're done. It has Scarab, which I absolutely love, a blue brown shade. The metallics in this palette, like Fire Butts and Marvel, are just so intense and punchy on the eyes. And then I look into Yuka and it's like, I do really enjoy this palette. I've created some looks that I really love. The shade Plantasia is so beautiful. But I'm shocking myself here, and I think I'm actually going to have Tiny Marvels move on. I'm surprised too. Okay, actually this next round in my opinion is kind of like no contest. So this is an easy one. So we have the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette up against the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. I know I said that this is no contest. Pause the video right now. Let me know which one you think is moving on. I want to know who is gonna get it right. Who's gonna get it right? If you guessed Danessa Myricks Volume 3 moving on, you are correct. I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette. I get it's an 8-pan all shimmer like multi-chrome palette, but this palette holds a place so special in my heart. And I do like the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. It is a good eyeshadow palette in my opinion. I really like the shade Muse and some of the other shades sprinkled throughout, but I really could have done without I don't love the shade Vague, and I don't love the shade Wit, not because of the performance, but I just feel like there is something about those two shades that are like out of place in this palette. So this palette is going home. All right, this next one's a difficult decision because we have the Odin's Eye Stone and Rock palette, a beautiful, beautiful green palette, which I love green eyeshadow, up against basically my new favorite palette in my collection as of last year. This is the Glaminatrix Nearly Natural palette. And I'm gonna have to go Nearly Natural. Like I love a green eyeshadow. I think a green eyeshadow is so fun. The shade High Spirits is one of the most unique green eyeshadow shades in my entire collection. And I feel like I always, like when I see someone wearing High Spirits in a video, I can like always tell it's High Spirits. It's such a special shade. But I love this eyeshadow palette. I have brought this with me traveling. Anytime I've traveled by airplane since owning this palette has come with me because it just is one of those palettes that again kind of makes me feel really pretty. The metallics are extremely punchy on the eyes, which I have been enjoying, although I know I keep saying like I've been liking a simpler look. But also the mattes in this palette are a little bit more buildable and a little bit easier for someone like me who can be a little bit heavy-handed, a little bit impatient. really nice to have just like a buildable eyeshadow formula so I don't get like so sloppy. So Glaminatrix Nearly Natural is going to be moving on. And that brings us to the other 6, which these palettes were all voted back in by you guys. So up first, we have the Ensley Rain Groovy Garden eyeshadow palette, which is actually on my eyes today. I didn't necessarily plan that, but it kind of worked out that way. I love Ensley Rain's formula. I have really enjoyed their Cold Moon eyeshadow palette, and I've really enjoyed my time with this eyeshadow palette. I also own Flower Moon, and I'm very excited for their newest Cosmic Dreamer eyeshadow palette. Sorry, my light's shining back there. Beautiful, grungy, just like earthy eyeshadow palette. Love the packaging. There's so much that I could say positive about this. And this is going to be going up against my Huda Beauty Rose Quartz eyeshadow palette, which is my favorite of all of the Huda Beauty larger eyeshadow palettes. It is this really beautiful, ethereal color story, kind of very opposite of Ensley Rain Groovy Gardens. And this is also such a tough one because this one, definitely like the metallics are going to be more punchy on the eyes, but I have done just so many looks with this eyeshadow palette that I love. The color story, even amongst the mattes, is a little bit like, is pretty unique to my collection. It's not like the other girls. It's different. And so I feel like naturally my first inclination would be to say like Groovy Gardens is moving on, but I'm going to give it to Huda Rose Quartz. I know it doesn't have maybe as special of shades as Groovy Gardens, but there is something just so special about this eyeshadow palette to me that Rose Quartz, it's got to be the one to move on. I was actually so surprised to read so many comments of Glaminatrix Rich Romantic to be rolled back in. This is what this eyeshadow palette's looking like, and this is going to be up against the Adept Heather Austin eyeshadow palette, which is also such a beautiful palette. How do I choose? There is something so smooth about the Glaminatrix special shade, like literally so smooth about their special shades. I can't even describe the feeling. It almost like doesn't even feel like you're touching anything, but then like when you rub your fingers together, it happens so quickly. It's like, oh, like if makeup were a lubricant, why are we going there? But this would be like the top-notch lube because it's just the smoothest. Did we like that one or did we not like that joke? I'm okay if you didn't like that one. This is also just so beautiful though. I love the different shades throughout this. I like Scrubs, Passport, Video Chat. I'm like, okay, I feel like maybe Video Chat also needs to be somehow incorporated into tomorrow's look. Like, yes. I'm just feeling like a ray of sunshine is like the look that I'm going for tomorrow. I feel like I'm gonna be disappointing so many people because again, so many people voted Rich Romantic back in, which it is a beautiful palette. And even looking at this right now, I'm like, ooh, I want to pull this out soon to create looks with this because I'm like feeling this shade right here, as well as the special shades in this palette truly are very special. But I'm going to give it to the Adept Heather Austin eyeshadow palette. There's just something so unique and special about the different formulas in an Adept palette. So Adept Heather Austin is moving on to the, what is it when they, it's Sweet 16 Final Four. What's the 8? It's not like the Great 8s. I should know this. Is there like a terminology for like when we get down to 8? Let me know, you guys. Why am I blanking? All right, and the final battle of Sweet 16 is going to be the Unearthly Fall Magic eyeshadow palette. This is so stunning, you guys. And Unearthly truly has such a unique, just beautiful formula. And this one is going to be up against Odin's Eye Merry Christmas. And this is difficult, but also not. I am gonna go Adept Fall Magic. I will say, like the shade, it pains me because I love Jingle Bell Snowman, and I love this eyeshadow palette. I love the color story. I'm like, okay, Santa Star. Do I need some gold in my look tomorrow? The other day I did a look with a gold, which I never do, and I was like, am I suddenly like a gold girly? Like, are we gonna be doing gold eyeshadow now? Where is something to wipe this off? Anyway. We're going Fall Magic. I've created some looks with this palette that I absolutely fell in love with. The formula, like there are shifty shades. Some of their special shades are just so unique, so interesting, and so fun on the eyes. It has to be Fall Magic. It just has to be. So this one is going to move on to, what do they call it? The last 8 palettes. palettes. So then we're gonna go backwards in the opposite direction because we do have our final 8 palettes here, and we are going to narrow these 8 palettes down to our final 4. Are you guys ready for it? So starting, it just gets harder and harder. Starting with the first matchup, we have Unearthly Fall Magic against the Adept Heather Austin eyeshadow palette. How do I even decide? Like, I feel like this is just not fair. There's more mattes in this, but oh, this is just actually so freaking difficult. I think I'm gonna go with Fall Magic. I just feel like there's more looks that I can think of right off the bat to create with this one. I'm a little bit more comfortable creating full looks with Unearthly Fall Magic, but it pains me to send this one home because, again, there's just so many shades in this palette that are so interesting and unique on the eyes. Still such a great palette. Obviously, like, these are the top 8, so obviously they're great. Okay, how do I pick? How do I pick? I have the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz against Nearly Natural. Ugh. I hate this, but I'm going with my heart and I'm going with this just because I feel like this offers a little bit more versatility. This is gonna be very pink and romantic or pink and purple, whereas this, there's some greens splashed in there, there's neutrals, there's pink and mauves. I love both of these. This hurts my heart, but we're gonna go with Glaminatrix Nearly Natural. Rose Quartz is going home. Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3 versus Tiny Marvels. Also, I'm like, okay, do we need to, I'm like finding all of that. Clearly I need to update my color series and do like oranges, which I think was like the most requested shade next. I need to do oranges. Back to the task at hand. Can you tell my like ADHD is like off the charts today? I feel like so many of you think I'm gonna pick this, and I'm actually gonna go with this because this offers just more versatility. It really just does. Oh, it's so hard. But we're gonna, Tiny Marvels is moving on. I'm just as surprised as you guys are. This is such a neglected palette in my collection. I do love the eyeshadow palette, but I always don't reach for it because I feel like I have to save it for like the most special occasion. So I'm just as surprised as you are to see this in the final 4. And that brings us to our final pairing. How do I choose? How do I choose? Oh, I don't feel like it's fair. I really do love the special shades in this, but this is like, how do I choose? I don't know. I feel like I want to pick this, and then I feel like I want to pick this. I want to pick them both. Oh my gosh, I actually like literally don't know how to choose. I'm like, that's why I feel like I would need to do a look with each of these, and I know the exact, I'm gonna get the same with this, whereas this is gonna offer a lot of versatility, or there's just a lot more that, but it's like, this is like my literal prized possession for like the perfect matte browns in my collection. Has this played a perfect tournament but just gets upset in the final like 8? Is that what's happening? Or just because it's like, I feel very pretty in this eyeshadow palette, but I've never done a look that I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so interesting, or that's so unique, or that's so just like, wow, I've never done something like that before, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards this. Oh my gosh, like I like actually am struggling. Why am I, we're talking about eyeshadow palettes in an eyeshadow palette tournament. Why am I making this out to be the biggest decision I'll ever make in life? Oh, I feel like the reason I'm struggling so much is naturally I feel like I need to choose this one, but I'm wanting to choose this one. I feel like that's where the conundrum is happening. I'm gonna go with Basic Witch, you guys. We're going with a big upset, and it's only because I feel like I can do something way more fun with this palette, and I'm kind of just like here for it. I'm kind of just like wanting to do that. So that is what's gonna happen. This is gonna move on, and we now have our final 4 palettes in this palette tournament. So what you can expect for the next video, and it might take a little bit of time for me to get it out because I'm gonna have to do a look with each of the palettes, but I'm thinking we'll do basically like a look with each palette for the final 4 videos. If you do, I wanna know, okay, give me your feedback. Do you want me to come on and just share the looks with you? Or should I come on and how like Angie sometimes does her like 4 looks with 4 indie palettes? Do you want me to like film me creating the looks with each of the final 4? And then we decide from there. Let me know how you want the next video to look. But regardless, I'll be doing a look with each of the 4 eyeshadow palettes in the final 4. Then we'll get to our finalists, and maybe our final video, I will do a second look in the final video to come up with the ultimate winner. There will be a giveaway in the final video. I haven't yet decided how I'm gonna do the giveaway. What, like, are we giving away? What are we giving away? I'm gonna figure that out. It'll be in the final video, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to let me know how you want the final 4 video to go. Thanks for your patience in me kind of taking a month off from this series, but I'm so excited to be bringing it back. And also let me know if you want to see an indie tournament before the end of the year, and I'm already so excited for next year, and I'll try and be a little bit more on top of it. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.